Hello and welcome to Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast number 61. This week, in the second of our mini-series looking at some of the Doctor's companions from the Big Finish range, we're looking at Thomas Hector Schofield, as played by Philip Oliver. But just before we get into the show, I want to apologise for the lateness of this week's episode. Those of you who've read the Facebook post will realise that I've been away for a few days. It's always good to have a break, and I've enjoyed it and been able to relax. But for now, on with this week's show, and I'll let Hex introduce himself.
My name's Hex. I'm a nurse.
Philip Oliver was born Philip Lee Borg Oliver on the 4th of June 1980 in Liverpool, and is a British actor, model and stage performer, best known for playing something not in Doctor Who. He actually played the role of Tim O'Leary in the Channel 4 soap Brookside. Philip spent his early childhood living in South Africa and the USA before returning to Liverpool when he was 7 years old. He attended St Edward's College, Liverpool. In the evenings he also attended a local amateur dramatic school in West Derby. His first role was in 1995 in the Channel 4 production Hearts and Minds with Christopher Eccleston. In 1996 he starred in his first television and most notable role of Timothy Tinhead O'Leary in the Channel 4 soap opera Brookside until its cancellation in 2003. He also appeared in the one-off drama Brookside Unfinished Business, which followed the series, also in 2003. Since leaving Brookside, Philip has also performed in several Big Finish audio plays as a companion of the Seventh Doctor by the name of Hex. He's also appeared as one of the guest regulars in Channel 4 comedy sketch show Bo Selector. Oliver is popular with gay audiences, hosting Mr Gay UK 2005 and appearing on stage at several gay pride events. He's also appeared nude in the December 2008 and April 2009 editions of the gay magazine Attitude. In 2005 he won the Channel 4 reality TV show The Games, dominating the competition from start to finish. Displaying impressive physique in the series, he went on to do a number of photo shoots and released calendars from 2006 to 2009. 2006 also saw him play the role of Adam Tyler, a teacher struggling with his sexuality, in the Hollyoaks spin-off series Hollyoaks in the City. On the 7th of February 2007, Oliver featured on Never Mind the Buzzcocks on Phil Jupiter's team, along with Danny Tourette. Oliver also appeared in the Ghost Hunting with Paul O'Grady and Friends show, which was broadcast on ITV2 in September 2008. In the same year he filmed the movie The Crew, which was released straight to DVD in early 2009, in which he played the role of a gangster named Paul the Hom. Oliver appeared in a celebrity edition of Come Dine With Me in February 2009. He competed alongside Chris Biggins, Julia Bradbury, Edwina Curry, and finished second to Biggins, the eventual winner. During February and March 2009 he competed in Escape from Takeaway Prison, a section of Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, which he won on the 22nd of March 2009. Oliver also appeared in an episode of Missing, a BBC One afternoon drama, playing a club owner and gangster Mark Stone in the March of the same year. 2009 also saw Oliver start to perform in musicals. He starred in Never Forget, which is about a Take That tribute band forming. He played the role of former stripper Dirty Harry. He also starred in the title role of the Camberley Theatre pantomime Dick Whittington. On the 28th of September 2010, Oliver appeared in the BBC soap opera Doctors, playing the role of Matt Darby, a gay yoga instructor. Later in 2010, he took the role of Muddles in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at the Connaught Theatre in Worthing. In 2013, he featured in a single episode of the Channel 4 production of Four in a Bed, where he and his friend Alfie Bubble own and run the Liverpool B&B Yellow Submarine, a notable episode where the guests were served a takeaway for breakfast. In 2014, Oliver starred again in the soap opera Doctors.
The sick, injured, these people are no threat to you.
Thomas Hector Schofield, nicknamed Hex, is a staff nurse working for St Gart's Hospital in London in the year 2021, who becomes a companion of the Seventh Doctor. Hex first appears in the play The Harvest, where he meets the Doctor and Ace while the two of them are investigating signs of alien activity at St Gart's. Ace was going by her real name of McShane and working in human resources, striking up a conversation with Hex to gain information on the mysterious C programme. When Hex gave Ace a ride to her lodgings in Shoreditch, he spies her going into a police box at Totter's Lane. As he's hammering on the door and demanding to know what's going on, Ace lets him inside the TARDIS, and Hex's world is transformed forever. Hex aided the Doctor and Ace in their investigations at St Gart's, uncovering the latest invasion scheme of the Cybermen, and helping the two time travellers defeat their old foes. At the adventure's conclusion, Hex asks if he can accompany them in their travels. The Doctor didn't seem surprised that he should ask, and accepts him as his newest companion. Schofield, who hated his real name and preferred to go by Hex, was incredulous of the strange things he saw, but was able to adjust rapidly and accept the evidence of his eyes. As a result, although he admitted that he didn't know what he was getting himself into when he asked to join the Doctor, both the Doctor and Ace seemed confident that he would be able to cope. Hex's first real trip in the TARDIS was to an Earth city floating in deep space, centred around Uluru, where he not only encountered beings from the mythical Dreamtime, but also the alien Galliari. Once again, despite initial culture shock, he adapts quickly to his circumstances and, together with Ace, ably assists the Doctor in persuading the Dreaming to stop consuming the human inhabitants of the city. He went on to help the Doctor in overthrowing a corrupt regime in Live 34 and uncovering the truth behind supernatural murders in Night Thoughts, developing a slightly flirtatious relationship with Ace. However, after his first trip into Earth's past involved him directly in the events of the Siege of Drogheda and the sack of Wexford, the traumatic events he experienced cause him to realise that things don't automatically get better because the Doctor shows up. And he's also placed in a position where he had to kill for the first time. He becomes unsure of whether he wants to continue his travels in the TARDIS and asks Ace if she would join him if he ever left. It was revealed in Thicker Than Water that the Seventh Doctor knew that Hex was actually the son of Cassandra, a young woman whom the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn Smythe had met in the late 1990s. Cassie left her son, who she called Tommy, with her mother while she set off to London to find her fortune. Cassie then becomes involved in a blood feud between the owners of a vampire-owned club, The Dusk, and Nimrod, an agent from a covert organisation known as the Forge. On the advice of the Sixth Doctor, Cassie reluctantly abandoned the young Tommy when she became a human-vampire hybrid, in the story Project Twilight in 2001, until the Doctor could find a cure for her. Before he could, she was hunted down, captured and brainwashed by Nimrod to become his replacement in the field, codenamed Artemis. However, when her conditioning was broken by Evelyn, Cassie turned against the Forge and was killed by Nimrod, in the story Project Lazarus. In The Angel of Scutari, we find Hex meeting his hero Florence Nightingale, but at the end of the story he gets shot and the Doctor rushes him into the TARDIS to take him back to where they met, St Gart's Hospital. When they arrive, they encounter Nimrod, and his facilities successfully treat his near-fatal wound. But once he's gained his trust, Nimrod finally reveals to Hex that the Doctor knew his mother and watched her die. That's Project Destiny, of course, from 2010. Angered by this, he chooses to stop travelling in the TARDIS, but in the next story, A Death in the Family, the Doctor apologises to Hex and takes him to meet Evelyn, who tells him everything she knows about his mother. Hex continued to travel with the Doctor and Ace, but he also believed that he had somehow cheated Death, and he suspects that Death may return to collect its debt. Finally, Hex discovers that, as his name suggests, he was cursed from the beginning. His life was that of a pawn, in an internal game between ancient elder gods. The wound he sustained at Scutari was indeed fatal, but Wayland, the being manipulating him, had prolonged his life to make his final moves against the equally powerful Fenric. In an artificial world outside time and space, Wayland was destroyed and Hex's fatal wound returned. In a showdown within the TARDIS, Fenric was almost destroyed but managed to possess Hex's dying body. Rather than living as a god or dying on the ground, Hex hurled himself out of the TARDIS, dissolving himself and Fenric into the void. However, a final scene suggests that Hex, Wayland and Fenric may have survived, at least in some form.
Oh, goodbye, my dear chap. I must say I've had the time of my lives.
And that's nearly all for this week. As always, my thanks for tuning in. And if you have any thoughts about the show, or Hex, or even Philip Oliver, I'd love to hear from you at either respectthething@outlook.com or on Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast on Facebook. But as I said a moment ago, we're not quite done for this week yet. As I was putting together this week's show, I had a look at the programme schedule ahead for the podcast and realised that I've planned shows up to and including episode 88 so far. And that brought me to thinking that although it's some months away yet, I really should be getting my head round episode 100. So if you have any thoughts as to how the show can celebrate its centenary, I'd love to hear them. From here to episode 88, I'll be looking at issues such as classic series Aliens, how you define a Doctor Who companion, the unit dating controversy, reviews of Light at the End and An Adventure in Space and Time, as well as some more black and white era companions, and a 9-part series looking at some of the show's best known producers and directors across both classic and new era Doctor Who. So there's some great things ahead, but I still can't quite get my head round what to do for the 100th show. So thinking ahead, I thought I'd ask you, the listener, what you would like to hear when the show celebrates 100. So let me know, as I said earlier, either at respectthething@outlook.com or on Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast on Facebook. Next week, in the last part of our mini-series looking at Big Finish companions, we'll be looking at 5th Doctor companion, Erimem.
I would wager, Doctor, that you did not expect anything like this when you first saw my chariot being chased.
Not really, no.
But I think the unexpected is something you are familiar with, am I right?
I was under the impression that Divine Pharaoh is always right.
I'm yet to actually be crowned, Doctor. But when I have been, I think I would do well to avoid sparring in word games with you.
Thank you for listening to Theta Sigma's Doctor Who podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all copyright and property of the BBC, and no infringement is intended.